Within the Digital Circus, it has been said that the players get put into the digital world through a special headset. This headset, according to some of the characters, is found within what is said to be an abandoned building.
A supermarket? How'd you end up here?
Well, I sometimes got bored of things, and I would seek out mild thrills like exploring abandoned buildings.
I sometimes did that.
And the more I think about it, the more this aspect of the show bothers me. It just doesn't sit right with me. Ultimately, the logistics of how they get into the circus don't really matter, because the show is about how people deal with being trapped in a digital hellscape, not so much the sci-fi technology. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll know more about the technologies of the series in the last episode.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Here's my problem, however. The headset is always there, ready to ensnare people into the digital world. Not to mention, this headset and a computer it's attached on can be found in some abandoned building completely intact. It all seems a little convenient to me. And so, I started to investigate this aspect of the story, and I may have discovered a possible conspiracy. A conspiracy not even Kane is aware of.
My name is Kane. I am your bitch.
And what if I told you that one of the suspects of this conspiracy is none other than one of the cast of characters of the Digital Circus? If the stories from the players are to be believed, the players found a headset that took them to the circus from a building. They just had it laying there. Pomni and Zubul likely found it while urban exploring. Jack could have found it while trying to hide for something he had done. Ragata likely found it while doing her real estate job. And Gangle? I don't know. She probably went to an abandoned building to do unspeakable things. It seemed to me that they all found the headset in the same building, and yet after years of being there, it's all intact? It's not faulty in any way? Seriously, no homeless crackhead found it and sold it for money.
I'll suck your dick for a pack of M&M.
Hell, why isn't one of the players a homeless crackhead?
And we'll always be in this together. No matter what.
I'll suck your dick.
Also, this so-called abandoned building still has power to run said computer? Oh. Okay, fine. Let's say this apparent abandoned building still has power. This specific computer with this specific headset is still running. It never shut off accidentally by a brownout or faulty wiring. Not even rain damage could have affected it. Since like 1999, assuming Scratch, Kinger, and the others were the last ones to use it before Ragata's 30-year-old ass stumbled across it. I don't know about that. Some spooky stuff is going on. But in the pilot and episode 8, we see Pomni exploring what looked to be her memories of the abandoned building, where she found a headset. And this place looks to be way too nice to be an abandoned building. Is it just me? Have you seen an abandoned building? They are not pretty. What about at the end of the pilot? We zoom out of the computer and the place still looks too clean. Look at all the stuff here as well. No homeless crackhead took them. And look at that power outlet. This place should have been caught on fire. So maybe it's not an abandoned building. It's what they think an abandoned building looks like. I don't think it's in any way a coincidence that the headsets just happened to be there. They were planted there, like a mousetrap for a mouse to step on, for people to stumble across, put on, and get transported into the circus. The building was never abandoned. It's a trap for those curious or desperate enough to go inside. But not druggies. They wanted people who were somewhat mentally stable. But if that's truly the case, then why? Why not? The Digital Circus not only contains one of the most advanced AIs ever, even with all its flaws, it also contains digital copies of people created through the VR device. Why not experiment and see how far this kind of technology could take us? And yes, I believe the headset creates digital copies of people based on the soma theory. Yes, this video is actually a soma theory video because to me, it's not even a theory, it's real.
Soma theory. Soma theory.
Here's a quick summary for some of the evidence that to me points to the soma theory being real.
I made a program that creates a body perfectly encapsulating their mind files, and they hate those too!
Huh? Leave the circus? How would you... No, that doesn't make sense.
You got that? Okay, good. And for those who were doing something else while listening and could not look at the screen, sucks to be you. Imagine the evidence yourself. I do it all the time. But it leads me to one last question, one last puzzle to figure out, and that is, who are they? Who are the people running the experiment? It's CNA. Well, maybe not CNA the company, but people who worked under CNA. You see, Scratch, the one who partially made Kane, that piece of shit AI,
My name is Kane. I am your bitch.
I believe was also the one who made the VR neural scan processor thingy, I don't know what it's called, in order to have digital versions of people live in the digital landscape. Other people have probably already said this, but Scratch was dying, or at least deteriorating, from the tumor in his head. And so what if he wanted a way to preserve himself by creating a digital version of his mind?
He was trying to make something. What was it?
Which has now been abstracted. Oh well, that's unfortunate. Okay.
Bitch.
So, is Scratch the one running this operation? No? He is probably dead by now. Then who could it be then? Kinger.
That's it? That was just a bunch of cheap...
Well, not our Kinger. Human Kinger. If we are to believe that the soma theory is real, won't there be people in CNA who knows what's going on with Kane and the circus? Especially the original people who got their mind scanned into the circus, likely to initially test out the technology before Kane went rogue and took over the digital landscape. Wouldn't they be looking at the digital circuits like,
Oh no! Oh no! No!
also, would the human counterparts really just leave the AI, their digital copies, and the super advanced VR mind scanner thingy alone in some abandoned building? It looks to be just placed in a random spot, and it's just in someone's office desk, assumingly just left on. Doesn't make any sense. And so, dear audience, this is what could have happened. After Human Scratch is dead, Human Kinger took over the creative AI project. Around the time Digital Kinger was the last person in the circus, Human Kinger and co. decided to put both Kane, his digital circus, and the headset in storage, but of course had them still be running as to not risk destroying both the AI and the neural scans. This could be because most of the digital people abstracted and there weren't any more test subjects to observe, or perhaps CNA got shut down. It would make sense how no one in the circus is aware of what CNA is. That is until 2008, where Kinger and crew pulled them out of storage and started testing on it again. Perhaps CNA got re-established, or the workers are working on their own. But instead of using their own minds, people who are already aware of the inner workings of the experiment and perhaps already had their minds scanned, they use unknowledgeable test subjects. This would explain why there's such a huge gap between the first batch of humans to have entered the circus and Ragatha. And it's why Kane was surprised to see another person enter.
Wow, a new one? So it is possible. I was hoping new minds could show up.
Since neither he nor Digital Kinger would think the crew would risk themselves or other people into the circus again. What if they brought Ragatha into their building, them making her think she's just having casual talks with some clients, and they casually brought the headset to her, unknowingly being the first test subject of the new series of human testing.
Hello? Guys? I can't figure out how to... guys? Hello? Can you help me out here? What's happening? Can anybody hear me? How do I take this off?
Afterwards, they set up the building to be abandoned, perhaps advertising the place online as a cool spot for urban explorers. While Digital Kinger is trapped in a circus having gone insane, Human Kinger watches him, keeping an eye on him, letting other people get trapped in the circus. Human Kinger is there to continue his friend Scratch's work. Human Kinger is the one behind the Digital Circus, the one letting people get sucked into the digital world for the experiment. At any moment since 2008, he could have stopped the testing and perhaps helped the people in the circus, including his digital self. But no, he continued, likely because he doesn't realize how much the people inside the Digital Circus are suffering. And with that, the case is closed. Well, dear audience, I had a fun chat with you, but it's time to move on. If you want to check out my last encounter with the Digital Circus case and its possible connection to Pink City, why not check out my last video here? But if you're curious to see one of my different cases, why not check out my Knights of Guinevere video here?